All right, our last video here, I'm multiplying binomials using the FOIL method. We're gonna have a few, this built upon what we've done in the previous two videos. In video one, we talked about the basics of using the FOIL method. In video two, we talked about, we did some simple examples. And then in this video, we're gonna add a few more elements to it. It's the same process. It's the same thing we're doing here. Still using the FOIL. Our first, outer, inner, last. First, outer, inner, last. It's still gonna be the same thing. We'll do it the same way, but there'll be a few more things added in there, okay? So let's get started with our first example. 2x plus 3, and then x plus 4, okay? So, same process, right? We start with our first, our f, okay? So our first ones is still our a term and our c term, okay? So our first two. In these two cases, it's a 2x here times an x here, okay? So 2x times x. When you do that, what do you get? Well, you get 2x squared, okay? Because there's x times x is x squared. Remember, and the 2 is out front. Your O, our outer, okay? We have our A and our D terms, our outer ones. So our first term here, 2x, and our last term here are 4. So we're doing 2x times 4. And when we do that, 2x times 4, we get 8x. Okay? Our I, our inner, our B and our C terms. Our inner terms here, 3 and x. So you multiply 3 times x, and we get 3x. And then our last terms, our B and our D terms here, are numbers 3 and 4. Okay, so our L, 3 times 4, and when we do that, we get 12. Well, we get 12, okay? So, put it together in an equation. 2x squared, and it's positive, so plus 8x, positive, so plus 3x, positive, plus 12. Okay. Now, same as what we've been doing. Okay. Drop down your first because it's x squared. That stays the way it is. Drop down your last because it's 12 by itself and it's a plus, so plus 12. And then your middle terms. Combine them. Combine them. Okay. Combine them together. Drop it down. We have 8x plus 3x. And when we do 8x plus 3x, we get plus or positive 11x. All right, that's our final answer. Okay, same thing, just add a few more numbers in there, okay? First terms, 2x times x, x squared. Outer, 2x times 4, 8x. Inner, 3 times x, 3x. Last, 3 times 4, 12. Okay, all that we did right here. And we put it all in the equation. Combine our like terms in the middle, put it here. Now when you do this work, you don't have to show all this or this part here or this here. I'm just kind of showing you in detail of how we get to our answers, all right? But when you do it for work, if you get how to do this, you get boom, 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 you could multiply easier. That's fine. Do what you gotta do, okay? I'm just showing you in detail of how we're doing this, okay? Do another example. Let's do negative 4x plus 1 times 5x minus 3. Okay, now there's some negatives in there, whatever. It's the same process, okay? Remember, you can use a calculator, okay? I don't care. You can use one. If it helps you with negatives, that's fine, all right? So, first thing, our f. Our first, what's our first? Our A and our C terms, right? A and the C terms, our first terms here, we have a negative 4x times a 5x. So we have a negative 4x times 5x. Okay? Now when we do that, negative 4x times 5x, we get negative 4 times 5 is negative 20, and that's x squared. Okay? That's our f, multiplying these first two terms. Negative 4x times 5x, boom, boom, negative 20x squared. Our O, what's our O? Our outer terms, right? Our A term and our D term. Negative 4x here times a negative 3. Remember, our minus sign here goes with this 3 to negative 3. So we have negative 4x times negative 3. Okay. So when we do our negative 4x times a negative 3, remember a negative times a negative equals a positive. So 4 times 3 is 12, and then our x is attached to it. Our I, our inner terms, our B and our C terms, remember BC is right here. 1 times 5x, so 1 times 5x. And when we do that, it's a simple 5x. Remember, anything times 1 is itself. So 5x times 1 is still going to be 5x, so there's only one of it. Okay. And then our last term, our L here, our B and our D terms, our last terms in each one, we have a 1, then negative 3. So 1 times a negative 3. When we multiply that, we get, remember, anything times 1 is itself, so we get a negative 3. Okay. So make an equation. Negative 20x squared. Our 12x is positive, so plus 12x. Our 5x is positive, so plus 5x. And our negative 3 here, negative 3, so minus 3. Okay? Drop down your first term, negative 20x squared, because it has the x squared, nothing else does. Drop down your last term. It's a negative 3, so we bring down that negative with it, okay? And then the middle terms, we're combining them. We're adding them together. 12x plus 5x is a positive 17x. And that's our final answer. That's what we're doing, all right? So that's how we're doing this. That's the simple gist of it, okay? Same process, just some extra numbers in there, some negatives thrown in there. Same process. Our first, right? Our first our C terms, negative 4x times 5x, negative 20x. Our outer, negative 4x times negative 3, positive 12x, 1 times 5x, 5x, 1 times negative 3, so negative 3. Okay? Put that in an equation. Drop your first term and your last term down, because they don't go with anything else. Combine your middle terms here, 12x plus 5x, 17x. Okay? Let's do one more example. (8x minus 2) negative 3x minus 6. Okay, last one. Same process. Our f is first. What's our first? Our first ones, a and our c terms. So our first terms here are 8x, and then we have a negative, right? So times our negative 3x, okay? When we do that, 8x times negative 3x, 8 times negative 3 is a negative 24, and our x is squared, because there's two of them, okay? Our O, our outer terms, a and our d term, right? That's our second one. So we have 8x here times a negative 6. So 8x times negative 6. When we do that, we get negative 48x. Our I, negative 2 times negative 3x, our B and our C terms, middle terms. Negative 2 times negative 3x. So negative 2 times negative 3x. And when we do that, negative 2 times negative 3 is a positive 6. And our x is there. And then L, our last terms, our B and our D terms, we have a negative 2 and negative 6. So negative 2 times negative 6. Multiply those together, and we get a positive 12. Okay? Make the equation. Negative 24x squared minus 48x plus 6x plus 12. All right, let's finish it up. Drop down your first term, negative 24x squared. Drop down your last term, 12. It's a positive 12, so plus 12. Combine your middle terms, drop it down. You have a negative 48x plus 6. Remember, don't forget about this negative in front here, this minus. Okay, if that's the minus, it's negative. So negative 48x plus 6x is going to give you a negative 42x. And that is our final answer. Okay, same process for everything. First, 8x times negative 3x, boom, negative 24x squared. Outer, 8x times negative 6, boom, negative 48x. Inner, negative 2 times negative 3, boom, positive 6x. Last, negative 2 times negative 6, boom, 12, positive 12. Put in the equation, drop down your first term and your last term, because it's x squared, can't combine, number, can't combine. Combine your middle terms because they both have an x attached to it. Negative 48 plus 6 and negative 42, x stays there.